Look, when you see or hear nothing about a game for 4 years after its initial reveal, you know it's going to be a very, interesting end product. Gameplay spoilers throughout, story spoilers only at the end. So I beat Bayonetta 3, and it's, alright, let's start with the positives. I think it's a very well-made game with a high-quality presentation. The music, as always, is top dog, one of the best video game soundtracks I've heard all year. I appreciate the variety of levels and the attention to detail in each level. Sometimes, instead of rushing to the next fight, I would just walk around and look at all the buildings. I heard there were frame rate issues. I don't have a good eye for that type of stuff unless it's really egregious, and I never notice anything. If the game is lagging, maybe kill the enemies faster? Maybe you suck a Bayonetta? I'm kidding. If there was slowdown, it never affected my enjoyment of the game. How much I enjoy a game like Bayonetta is mostly rooted in the gameplay. Hold it! Are you on my computer? Yeah, I'm crushing it in this League of Dogs game. But don't worry, I'm keeping my online connection super secure with today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. A VPN, or virtual private network, gives you the power to not only protect your online privacy and control your personal data, but also unlock exclusive benefits for gaming. Are you doing an ad right now? With a VPN, I can change my online region and play on servers in different countries. This way, I can learn the secret strategy used by those French bulldogs. I'm sorry, did you say League of Dog? After I qualify for the League of Dog World Championship Tournament, I'll be able to use Surfshark VPN to get the best deals when shopping online for flights and hotels. How are you using a computer? You don't even have fingers! And when I travel abroad to the tournament, I can stay safe and secure while using public Wi-Fi on an unlimited number of devices to get in some extra matches. You are a dog! Surfshark VPN has a Black Friday offer going on right now. With a 24-month VPN plan, you can get 3 free months and an 85% off discount across an unlimited number of devices. Just scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description and promo code CAPTAINVPN. They have 24/7 support and a 30-day money-back guarantee, so what are you waiting for? The gameplay. Bayonetta returns in her fast-paced, combo-heavy extravaganza. She has a ton of weapons in this game. My favorite ones were the yo-yo rollerblades. Sometimes it feels like there aren't enough levels to try out all the weapons, but you can always replay levels for higher scores. You unlock all sorts of moves for your weapons, and they're cool moves, but it feels like you get just as good results by just mashing the X button. Granted, I was playing on normal mode because that is usually how I play games the first time through, so maybe you do need to switch up your moves on higher difficulties, I don't know. But I was almost always getting a platinum combo rating regardless if I was using the full moveset or just mashing the X button. I don't know, Astral Chain, Platinum Games' previous action combat title on Nintendo Switch that I highly recommend, has a scoring system which incentivizes you to mix and match attacks, but in Bayonetta, as long as you're continually hitting them, you're good. Speaking of, a new Bayonetta 3 combat mechanic that is vaguely similar to Astral Chain's gameplay is the Demon Masquerade. Ooh. You know how in the previous 2 Bayo games, at the end of a boss fight, Bayonetta summons a demon and you mash the button to finish it off? Well, in Bayonetta 3, you can basically do that all the time now. Does having demon summoning available at all times oversaturate the spectacle and make it feel less special? Anyways, when you summon a demon, you directly control it. I hate spiders and love trains, but in this game, I loved the spider, and the train was kinda weird, I didn't use it. You can even summon the clock tower from the first level of Bayonetta 1. The demons do a lot of damage, but they're very sluggish to control, and attack very slowly. During summoning, Bayonetta herself won't be able to move, so you have to keep in mind your positioning. It's an interesting mechanic. It's not fun, but it's interesting. I mostly played like it's a regular Bayonetta game, and at the end of a combo the screen flashes, you press the trigger to have your demon pop out and do an attack. Again, just like Astral Chain. Sorry for all the Astral Chain comparisons, but there's no denying that the influence is clearly there. In between battles, there are sometimes mini platforming challenges that only stand to highlight how janky and imprecise the platforming is. I do not know why Platinum Games' games always struggle with jumping. There's also bonus levels you can find. Some were alright, and some were like, I am annoyed and I am leaving. But overall, the Bayonetta gameplay sections are really good. But since this is Bayonetta 3, this time there's 3 playable characters. For some levels you play as Jeanne. Jeanne is basically Bayonetta again. So instead of more Bayo levels except you're red, Jeanne gets to go on 2D stealth sections. Then in elevator levels where it feels like they forgot to put in half the enemies.
This is a waste of time.
Then a motorcycle boss level that you have to repeat from the beginning if you mess up the quick time event at the end. Oh hey Bayonetta 1! These levels aren't terrible, they're not the worst thing I ever played, but I wouldn't call them good. They should have been like optional side quests, not interrupting the main story with these. And the third playable character is a brand new character, Viola. Look, you're either gonna like Viola or you're really not gonna like Viola. I would say I would not have a positive opinion of Viola. She's not the worst, her design looks fine and her personality is alright, but I think what it is that she reminds me too much of Dante, but not that Dante. That Dante. It was really her gameplay I did not jive with. It's hard to put into words, but her sword combos never really felt all that satisfying or fluid. You know how Bayonetta activates witch time by dodging with good timing? While Viola activates a shorter witch time by parrying an attack with her sword. Parrying is similar to dodging, but for one it's mapped to a different button than dodging, so muscle memory is gone, and it's the same button as the zip across the map button. Also, parrying is just harder to do than dodging, so playing as Bayonetta, I never needed to heal, and playing as Viola, I needed a subscription to Willy Wonka's factory because I was ODing on lollipops and had to keep pausing the game to heal because I messed up too many parries. Wow, I unlocked 2 new weapons and 2 new demons for Bayonetta at the end of that level. Can't wait to play more as Bayonetta and try them out in the next level. Bayonetta herself is so double-cheeked up with all these weapons and demons, it would have been better if Bayo learned to share and gave Viola some of those weapons. Maybe throughout the game, Bayonetta could have taught Viola how to do some of her moves and they could have formed a more of an emotional bond that way. You know, a little bit of storytelling through gameplay, instead of what actually happens where Bayonetta calls Viola Kitty.
The name's Viola, and don't forget it, humph!
Viola only has one demon, where she can turn her sword into Big the Cat, and unlike Bayonetta's dance demons, he attacks automatically, while Viola punches instead. So the best way I found to get through these Viola parts was to just do that. This is just Astral Chain, but shitty. Asshole Chain, if you will. In summary, the parts where you're playing as Bayonetta, you know the thing they've had 3 games to get right, are pretty dang good. And the parts where you're not playing as Bayonetta make you want to turn the game off. You spend more time than you'd think not playing as the titular character, and the whole time I'm thinking, can I please go back to playing as Bayonetta? And don't get me wrong, changing up the gameplay in a game can be a lot of fun. I actually really liked the motorcycle level from Bayo 1 and the Star Fox level from Bayo 2. However, even if I did not like those sections, those are quick little diversions, as opposed to Bayo 3, where it's lengthy sections of the game where you have to slowly walk through the desert or some crap. The story spoilers start here. I'll be honest though, you're not missing much. For reference, Bayonetta 1 has one of the most nonsensical gibberish plots I've seen in any media ever, and that includes fucking Kingdom Hearts. It all kinda makes sense up until this guy shows up. After that, things just happen. It has been almost 5 years since I last played it, but I remember it's one of those stories where you gotta read a wiki afterwards to figure out what you just watched. You are not playing Bayonetta 1 for the story. You are playing it to see Bayonetta make jokes, talk smack, literally smack angels, and take her clothes off to summon demons. Bayonetta 2's story was a narrative that's actually comprehensible by a human being. She journeys into hell to save her redacted Jeanne. Bayonetta 3's story is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness mixed with Power Rangers of all things. It's a very video gamey plot where you jump into different worlds and collect the 5 power stars. Chaos gears. And every group of 3 levels follows the same formula. You go into the new world and see a cutscene of alternate universe Bayonetta. You meet Skater-netta, Train-o-netta, Cleopatra-netta, and Persona 5-o-netta, who's actually her baguette mommy. Your Bayonetta teams up with a new Bayonetta's demon. It feels like these encounters were originally planned to be boss fights first, then you team up, but the fight part got cut for time. After fighting a bunch of blorbs, you meet the new Bayo in person and team up to fight that level's big Blorbo Glorbo. Then your Bayonetta does the flippin' Rita Repulsa, make my monster grow! And summons a big demon like Shin Godzilla, legally distinct Sin Gamora. And your Zords fight in a big set-piece battle. These fights are supposed to be exciting. You know how usually you might fight a tough enemy using the mechanics you've been practicing on the little dudes, also known as a video game? Well, instead here, the boss fight involves completely new mechanics. These sections range from, this is pretty good, to, this is alright, to, this is just a rhythm game, to, this is the worst gameplay of any game I played all year. Why is this in the game? Why do I have to do it twice? And then the alternate Bayonetta dies every single time. So you take her weapon and demon, and then Zordon shows up and taunts you, then it's on to the next world. Meanwhile, Jeanne's going through these shitty levels to find Professor X, who actually turns out to be the bad guy. What a twist. Meanwhile, Viola is, oh fuck, we made this whole new character but forgot to give her anything meaningful to actually do. Make her chase after Luca. Why is Luca running? Because. Oh, and also, Luca is an angel, demon, fairy persona now. Also, Viola is the daughter of him and Bayonetta, and eventually she can transform into her own persona where you just mash the X button to win. I'm dead serious, the game just plays itself here. A recent trend I've seen in too many big budget modern games is that they don't really want to be games, they want to be movies. That's a bad thing, especially here, because Bayonetta 3 prioritizes spectacle by sacrificing good gameplay. You don't advance the medium of video games by making them resemble a different art form. Instead, you gotta embrace what makes video games unique, their interactivity. Too many times in this game, it just feels like I'm watching someone else play Bayonetta 3. And then there's the ending. Oh my god, the ending. The ending to Bayonetta 3 is so terrible that early reviewers risked breaking their contract saying they're not allowed to talk about the ending to talk about the ending and how bad it is. You know Jeanne, one of the main characters of the whole series? Well, she gets killed off unceremoniously. That's how I knew it was going downhill. But it wasn't all bad, just mostly. Here's my reaction to it. I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck about this part. Oh yay, another boring ass Godzilla battle. Well cool, we're in space, I love space. Wow, every Bayonetta is here. Hey, Jeanne's back, but she's a ghost still. The game should have ended here. Oh my god, that is so many health bars. Why do I have to keep playing as her worst demon? Oh snap, it's Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2, and it's the UI from Bayonetta 1, that's pretty cool. Now we're 3-anetta. Actually, the game should have ended here. Oh no, Viola's gonna die. Oh my god, who's gonna show up next? Enzo with a car? Okay, you could have cut this part out. Sorry, I blinked and missed it. Did we actually beat the bad guy? That's what you get for relying on Godzilla. What the fuck? That's it? Oh no, it's fine, there's more. That's it? Oh no, it's fine, there's more. That's it? Oh hell no. So amidst 3 separate dance numbers, Bayo 3 ends with her getting dragged to hell in an eternal romantic embrace with Luca, and she dies. If you've never played a Bayonetta game and are wondering who's Luca, exactly! I rewatched all the cutscenes from the first 2 games, and yeah, Luca's barely in it. He's just some guy who's trying to cancel Bayonetta while unsuccessfully flirting with her, but this is technically a different Bayonetta. Each game takes place in a different universe. I did not learn that until now. My bad for thinking Bayonetta 2 came after Bayonetta 1. Especially when the games directly reference events from the previous games. So even though Bayonetta has an established history as a queer-coded character, especially in Bayo 2, especially when the game's director tweets out a poll of favorite game couples and Bayonetta and Jeanne are the winning option, and we only get one Bayonetta game per decade, if you want to go in this new direction, then I don't know, maybe it should have been built up in this game? They speak 1 time before the ending, 2 if you count the conversation that's muted, and then it's suddenly, I've been in love with you forever. Knuckles the Hedgehog and Rouge the Hedgehog have more romantic build-up than this. And according to timeline videos I've watched after beating it to figure out what the fuck I just watched, if it's true that this Bayonetta is the same as Child Cereza from Bayo 1, who Luca hung out with for a long time during Bayo 1, then no, I'm just kidding, y'all. The cutscenes and action scenes are very well animated, but I just wish they also had good dialogue. Remember how part of the appeal of the Bayonetta franchise is Bayonetta's unique and entertaining personality? Remember how in the cutscenes of Bayonetta 1 and 2, Bayonetta, talks? Because here, Bayonetta gradually talks less and less throughout the story. Those lines from the first full trailer aren't even in the actual game. Hey Bayonetta, we're about to fight our big boss. Hit me with one of your classic Bayonetta one-liners. Alright. Usually, when multiverse characters meet, they talk to each other? You'd think that with no fewer than 7 Bayonettas in this game, all these different multiverse Bayos could interact, maybe lead to some funny scenes? But nope, they barely speak. Bayonetta has to kill an alternate version of her mom at one point. Is this scene gonna have any emotional weight, or? A generous reading of this game's story is that Bayonetta is traumatized by watching versions of herself die in New York being destroyed, so she takes it more seriously now. But you don't really see her actually express that emotion in any of the cutscenes. She just kinda stares like she walked into a room and forgot what she was about to say. Plus, Bayonetta has always been confident in the face of adversity no matter how dire the situation. I don't really give a shit about the events of the story, but her personality, her charm, charm. That's what makes Bayonetta Bayonetta and not just Bullet Witch. And I'm sure others will disagree, but I've always thought that the Bayonetta series is a prime example of sexualization actually done well in a video game, since the game is very self-aware about it, and it fits the aesthetic of the character, not just cheap fan service. It's always been who the character is. But in Bayo 3, the overall sexiness of the game is toned down and replaced with a really big cat. I do not think anyone was asking for that. Not even Nintendo was asking for that. On the sexiness scale, it goes from like an 8 out of 10 to like a 4 out of 10. I wasn't even playing on Naive Angel mode. I was playing on Spicy mode. And other than stuff that's directly carried over from the previous games, there's not a whole lot there. Remember the torture attacks from Bayo 2 where you dominate the enemies, fitting Bayonetta's dominatrix persona? Well, in Bayo 3, torture attacks are replaced by flying a rocket ship into them. The tone is much more serious overall. You know, a serious story about the 7-foot-tall sassy dominatrix witch who breakdances to attack with the 4 guns duct taped to her arms and legs right before she takes all her clothes off to summon demons from hell. Basically Citizen Kane 2. Oh, and the final scene is like, Viola is the new Bayonetta. Viola is the Poochie of Bayonetta, which retroactively makes all those kinda bad sections where you play as her feel like glorified advertisements for a future game that may or may not ever exist. And if she is the star of the next game, then I'm sorry y'all, I might be done with this series. Or maybe they didn't have any future ideas for the Bayonetta series, and instead, Platinum Games can focus on other series like Babylon's Fall and Soul Cresta. So Platinum Games might be going out of business soon. Bayonetta 3 swings for the fences with its story, gameplay, scope, and overall direction, and as a result, hits a couple foul balls along the way. That being said, I have much greater respect for a game that's willing to take those risky swings over one that just bunts every time they're at bat. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. All this stuff is obviously just my opinion, so comment below with how you feel about Bayonetta 3 if you've played it. But keep in mind, today's comment code word is choo-choo. Comment choo-choo if you made it all the way through the video, and that's it, video's over.